The issue is this. He also is a Nigerian and has seen several things that have befell Nigeria in the last 4 years. Not only for, probably in the last 8 years, he could see all that we've been passing through. And I'm sure those things we give him were the thing he considered when he was putting together his manifesto. You understand? Tackling security, because he also knew that when the country is not secure, several things will go wrong. We want to tackle electricity, want to see this. Much more that he's talking about reducing unemployment 50% in the next 4 years. This is doable. This is doable. We have been saying it here severally that all you needed to do is to ensure that our industries are working. If industries are working, then what are we talking about? I was chatting with a friend from Canada a few days ago, and he said, I said, why does everybody want to go to Canada? And once they get to Canada, something, I mean, they feel relaxed. He said, simply one, the policies are friendly. Then number two, there are industries for the people to work. The major reason why our Nigerians are moving out of the country is to look for where to work. If you have a place where you are working and any you're living, definitely you want to stay by the job. So if he could, by reason of his experience, particularly in the governing of Lagos State, he knew how many industries were in Lagos State when he was the governor, and he knew how many industries are there even at now, vis-a-vis other states of the federation. So I am very optimistic that if he could concentrate on industrial development and particularly small business growth, then definitely there will be employment. To employ people, Nigerians are very hardworking and they are ready to work. And as much as possible, everybody wants to see where you can wake up in the morning and go to work. But presently now you discover that over 70% of Nigerians wake up in the morning and still stay at home or hanging around the city, doing nothing. And so several other things begin to crop up. So if the president-elect could come up with policies that will enhance industrialization of Nigeria, you can be sure that he will get over 50% of employment in the next 4 years.
Right now, Mr. GREAT-SHEYI, AKINTUNDE, we have, just as you mentioned, we have hundreds of comatose industries in the country. Now, what should be the president-elect's action plan for the agri sector, for the manufacturing sector? Yes, this outgoing administration of President Muhammadu Buhari actually put so many policies in place. We had the Anchor Borrowers program for the agri sector. We had a 200 by 200 policy by the Central Bank of Nigeria for the manufacturing sector. Now, for this incoming administration of Bola Tinubu, what should be his action plan, specific action plan for the agri sector, for the manufacturing sector to thrive? Like
I said, now, all of these things have areas where they kick off from. If you tackle security issue in this country, the farmers will be able to go to a farm and be able to do their job. Now, once they are able to do their job, agriculturally, government will only need to create an enabling environment, give some incentives and some funding to be able to ensure that we have agricultural production. We have arable lands, we have lands, we could produce all we wanted in this country, even for export rather. And at the end of the day, then it translates to the manufacturing sector. Now, it is what is produced in the agri sector that will be processed. For instance, somebody is producing rice. You understand? We need rice plant to be able to make the rice, distone it, and package it for onward buyers and for consumption, and probably for export. So what we do is, once security is taken care of, then the agri policy should be put in place. Yes, I will advise that the incoming government look critically into the policies that were on ground. So most of these policies that were done by the present administrations were done there, and they are less than 30% in performance. So they could be raised up. Like you said, the Anchor Borrowers program is a laudable program, but how functional has it been?
Because the Central Bank of Nigeria has said less than 40% of that loan is being paid back.
Yes, it's true. Loans are not paid back when the conditions and the situations are not favorable. For instance, I take a loan, and where I went to buy, before I come back, security issues have collapsed the business. How do I pay back? You understand? So if there are policies, if there are conditions within the country that enable us to make profit, if those that collected such funds are making profit, definitely they will be able to pay back. But imagine where somebody have stake his life, stake his own properties, and collected a loan, and at the end of the day, maybe as like the anchor borrowers, he has given it to some people, go and produce so thing for me, maybe produce corn for me, for instance. And at the end of the, as they go into the farm, plant the corn and all those things, so the Fulani herdsmen get there and they consume the Fulani, the cow consume all the product. You understand? What will happen? The man will have to cry back to the person that gave him money, and invariably, the man that collected the money from the central bank will not be able to pay back. So how do we rationalize this? The only thing is that, well, like I said, the fundamental thing in this country is the security issue. If you know you can plant and you will be able to monitor it until the thing is harvested. Once it is harvested, you definitely will transport it to those that are going to process it. And from processing, you can be sure it goes to the commercial side of it. So with this, the incoming government should focus more on each of these segments. Each of these segments should be handled. You understand? So as if somebody is holding an anchor borrower program, they should be able to do the anchor borrower program to a profitable level. You understand? So if you have smaller loans like the one from NICE or whatever, they should be able to do it to a profitable sphere. So as at the end of the day, the manufacturing sector can be able to manufacture and make profit. Once they make profit, they return the money. But it is when they are not making profit that issues begin to happen. That I have taken time to look into. Several of our people collected loans here and there, and at the end of the day, the few that are able to make profit are the ones that were able to pay back. Then when you get to those that are not paying back, the same thing, this one will tell you is what they say, this one also will tell you. You understand? Inflation in the market. Okay, for instance, who will take, if somebody has collected loan before this money swap or money redesign, who in this country will be able to say, hey, during this redesign of a thing, I am paying back loan? You understand? If we do know what thing I discovered, even NEPA could not go out to disconnect lights. Because, I don't know, maybe they fear the people. Do you know that VIO cannot come out? Road safety could not come out. About 2-3 days ago, I began to drive. I drove along the federal road.
But some of their reasons for not coming.
No, the reason is because they know that even when you impound a vehicle, why would the man get money to go and do license or to do other particulars of the paper, of the motor? You understand that? So most of the government agencies even also were paralyzed. They could not do their normal duty or duties. So, which means that even the federal government understand that some of these policies are not favorable to the citizenry. So the incoming government therefore should be able to look critically into these unfavorable policies, such that at the end of the day they can find a way to ameliorate the suffering of the people.
Now, Tinubu has also promised various sectors fiscal incentives, tax breaks, tax credits, rebates, and access to finance. Now, for you as an industrialist, what form of fiscal incentives or tax breaks are you looking forward to?
No, the issue is this. There are several things that that federal government or the government of Nigeria does sometimes that I won't support 100%. I remember sometimes ago they said they want to reduce the duties on vehicle. When they came to me, I said, well, reducing vehicle duties, the import duties, is not the issue. what stopped us after all these millions of vehicles in this country from the federal government citing a place and let us produce made in Nigeria motorcycle? Let's produce made in Nigeria motor vehicle. So as instead of opening our border for other people to bring in their goods free of charge into almost free of charge into our own country, then let's produce our own. Yes, I agree with tax incentives. I agree. But the truth is that if I am making profit, to pay tax, yes, and it's a must. So I should be able to pay tax. It is when government discovered that they have set up a policy that is not favorable for the people to make profit, then we begin to look around on what to do. First and foremost, there should be policies that will make manufacturers, producers, processors to be able to make profit. So if there's going to be certain tax incentives, tax holidays, you understand? No, there's no crime. If somebody has been paying all along this for a particular years, we can allow him, okay, please be free for a particular period of time. And so the free period should be a percentage of what has been paid thus far. Meanwhile, there will be resumption where he will continue to pay. So I want to encourage such to be done. Then talking about making fund available, financing the businesses or industry. Yes, there should always be, even at the state level. I have advocated severally that the Ondo State Ministry of Commerce and Industry used to have some fund before now, that when small scale industries come up and they have issue in their industry, they should have a place where they run to. That is not microcredit agency. They should be able to go to their parent ministry, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and have a little fund, 250,000, 300, 1 million naira, that they could use to just make sure that that business does not die at that particular time, and they create a time to pay back. And definitely, if that business is thriving, it will pay back. But when government will not do such business will die, and at the end of the day, we begin to say our children are not having job to do. But if the state government and the federal government could create an avenue where we can have access to funding, you can fund your business. Definitely, the business will work. It will move on. We were all here when Dangote was looking for about $9.3 billion to do refinery. If he has not gotten such fund today, that Lagos refinery will not have been. But so the government of Nigeria should be able to come up, the president-elect should be able to come up with a sound policy that such industries, small businesses, big businesses could have access to what I want to call industrially friendly loans and grants. Industrially friendly loans and grants, because there are some of these loans that are not industrially friendly. You won't expect me to take 35% interest rate from a commercial bank and still want to produce gari and produce whatever I'm producing. You understand? At the end of the day, who will pay back? They will not be able to pay back. But if we have something that is within one digit the loan, interest rate, then everybody will be able to pay back their loan for others to enjoy. So as at the end of the day, the system itself will normalize. We have people that are ready to work. We have industries that are ready to manufacture and produce things that are available within the ambit of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but will require funding.
Now, according to him and in his words, I quote, "My aim is to develop local manufacturing and value-added businesses. My aim is to deepen consumer lending, increase affordable housing, and provide business owners with low-cost loans, just as you suggested, to modernize operations and improve productivity." He equally said his aim is to reform the structural foundation of the economy. Now, to accomplish the major feat, government and the private sector, according to him, must work hand in hand. Sure. First of all, how well has a government worked hand in hand with the private sector, with businesses, and how can this incoming administration improve on what is on ground? The president-elect has started by taking a proactive step, a step that is required.
Before now, he had a meeting with the private sector. You are aware of that. He had a meeting with the private sector. So if such meetings continues, this is where most of the time government misses the thing. The private sector are the one that are on the ground. They are the one that are producing. So if there is a consistent meeting with them, there will be, I mean, the government will be able to have an idea of the kind of policies that will be put in place. So with all that he has said, that the president-elect has said, you will discover that he has something else he wants to offer. You understand? And I can assure you that the private sector will work with him. The National Association of Small-Scale Industrialists at a national level have, as I'm sure they have booked a time, because I was reading it just yesterday, they want to meet with the president-elect and be able to fathom out what to do within the ambit of small businesses or small scale industries in Nigeria. So as we can walk around, because we all know that the small scale, small and medium enterprises are the engine room of this country. I have always been saying that they are the one that was sustaining the economy. They are the one that was sustaining the livelihood of the people. When we were redesigning this fund in the last 1 month, and no money was flowing, not every other thing, one way or the other, the small businesses was trying to manage the situation. You understand? You can buy something so at a small level, you can take credit at a small level, and at the end of this things was moving up until, I am sure, after the election of Saturday, by the grace of God, things will begin to roll up. You understand? They said as at now, the Supreme Court has said that we should start spending both 500 and 1,000 naira old note, but the central bank has not made a statement. They have not told us, should we not? You understand now? The banks are still waiting for a direction. So if we remove this intentional manipulation of our system, if we remove it from the system, you will discover that every other thing will work smoothly. I am trusting that the incoming government will perform. You understand? Having gone through all this stress and being part of the system. And the only advice we want to advise, which we know that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has ever done, is to be able to put a right peg in the right hole. Put an industrialist in the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Put a medical doctor in the hospitals, and let the lawyers and the legal people be in the law side. So as it will not be a time where you bring a lawyer to come and head the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and you say he should be able to know. So please, right peg, right hole, Nigeria will move forward.
Thank you so much, Mr. GREAT-SHEYI AKINTUNDE, for joining us on Business Today. He is the chairman of ONDO State National Association of Small-Scale Industrialists. And this morning, we've been taking a look at the agenda of the president-elect for the business subsector and the organized private sector. Thank you once again.
I appreciate
for being a guest on the program.
It's a pleasure coming here today.
My name is Odunwayo Soya. Thank you so much. Good morning.